right.
What's up?
There it is. Oh, there he is in the nick of time. What's up, everybody? Harrigan BX here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Breaking the Mold, episode 188. If our count is correct. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. It's almost going to be a happy new year. We're here to shut down the year, put a little lid on 2021 and hang out. We almost got the full cast. Let's say what's up. Brian Brink, what's going on, dude?
What's up, guys?
How are you?
I'm good.
Hey.
The holiday was good. Got to give cool gifts to my 1-year-old nephew, which was fun.
Sweet.
And yeah, hung out with family. I had salmon for Christmas dinner. Ever heard
Whoa!
of that?
Nice. It's a change. It's a switch up.
Yeah. So yeah, my brother hosted, and these young kids, man, they just they take traditions and they throw them out the window. They're like, we ain't got time for that. We're starting our own stuff. It's going against the grain. It was really good though. I have to say, it was a good meal, good company, fun and games. I got to play an Xbox. That doesn't happen very often. I suck at Rocket League, I'll tell you that. But it was fun just to drive around. You guys ever play that game? It's pretty.
Is that the cars that hit the ball into the goal?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now just looking forward to. I got one more day of work this week, and then the fun begins again. So we'll see. I had a COVID encounter with someone that was at the Christmas thing the day after Christmas, that they just found out that they were in close contact with somebody that tested positive, but they're fine, and I don't know. So I'm waiting it out. A couple more days. I feel okay. I haven't seen this person since Sunday, so I guess it's all right. I don't know. And let's see. Oh man, just waiting to get this fucking year over with. I mean, it's just another year.
A few days away, exactly. All right, cool. Good to see you, as always. Next up, Energon Addict. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what's up, man? Good to see you guys. Happy holidays.
Same to you. How was yours with the fam?
It was quiet, I should say. So that COVID is spreading pretty fast. At least here in New York, it is too. So, my brother's kid got it. So basically, she was in contact with my parents, and they weren't sure, so they had to cancel Christmas. Pretty much. So I had to basically stay home, do Christmas here. You know what I mean? Just me and the girls.
Oh,
it was nice,
cool. Hey.
It was still, good. We're all feeling fine, and it turns out nobody has any symptoms in my mother's house yet. But just to be precautious and stuff, we're gonna stay away for a few more days just to make sure. And I went to my in-laws Christmas Day, which was cool because I didn't have to cook that day at least. So the eve is what I did, because that's what we typically celebrate, is the eve.
That's
more
what
so.
we do, yeah, usually.
Yeah. So Christmas Day, we went there probably like 3 p.m. till like probably about 9 o'clock at night. And I took like 2 or 3 naps while I was there too. So I didn't really have to entertain anybody. It was just eating and sleeping, so it's just nice.
You ate a lot.
I mean, yeah, not like overeat, but I mean, it was like, she was feeding us all day. Yeah, pretty much. So it was like, here, this is, your 3 o'clock stuff. And then dinner came, and it was like a 3-course dinner. And it was like, geez.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So by the time we got home, I think I was asleep by 10 o'clock on Christmas Day. So
Dave, since you're the only one of us who actually has like a little one at home, what time did she get you guys up on Christmas?
7:30, I
7:30.
think, about. Yeah, she's like clockwork, bro. Like, she gets up between 7 and 7:30 without an alarm every day of the week. So I told her on specifically Christmas, it's okay if she comes into the room to wake us up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get up, it's Christmas, So she did that, and then we had to keep her like away from the living room area because we wanted her to be like in total surprise and recorded and everything. Because my wife just overdoes it with the gifts for her. So, we get the whole like walking into the room and then her going, "Oh my god, look at all this." It wasn't
Santa
there,
came, Santa came.
Yeah, we don't put the presents under the tree until the day of. So all the presents were in the laundry room for like days, and we couldn't let her in there. Like, we had to keep her out of it. She follows my wife everywhere, so we were just like, keep her out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
But she was opening presents probably for a good hour, and then after she's done opening them, she's like, "Is there anything else?" I'm like, "Bro, like, is that not enough?"
So Dave,
yeah.
Question for you. So even the wrapped presents, like you don't put those under the tree to wait for the next day or anything like that?
Yeah, no.
Really?
Everything goes under the tree like if Santa brought it.
Ah, okay.
Like, like the morning of. And then like the whole month prior, you're doing the whole elf on the shelf thing too. So it was nice to finally put him away. Because you just run out of fucking places to put that guy,
What is that? You just put an elf on a different shelf every day of the week? Or something like
Yeah,
that?
so the story is, Jose, is that like you got the elf and you have to you basically put him in a different spot. If he didn't move from that spot, that means she was bad that day. So out of the month, he didn't move just once, and that was because she didn't eat her lunch in school. Like her whole lunch was still in the lunchbox when she brought it home. So he stayed in that spot that night. So she was crying, and she's like, "Oh no, it's like that's one less present. You see, we told you." So it's like a good rule maker kind of thing to keep them nice on the nice list and off the naughty list.
So what'd she do? I gotta know. Did she beat up some other kid and eat their lunch?
No. She just didn't eat her lunch. Like, you know what I mean? Okay. So like, Chloe's the type that you have to remind her like 15 times during her eating to keep eating. She'll take a bite and then she'll like wander off. And especially in school, she's just watching everybody else. Or playing or talking or whatever the fuck she does. I don't know because I'm not there, but when you see her whole lunch packed and you're like, what the fuck, kid? Like all you ate was your chips and your fruit snacks. Like, what's going on?
Just the junk food, not the real. Yeah.
Times are much simpler when we were kids. I mean, you talk about your wife trying to like frame the scene, just cracks me up because to me, I just remember waking up early, sometimes before 7. I get those parents up. We go downstairs. Grandma's already up because those grandparents are crazy. And, man, boom, open presents. Parents go back to bed if you want. It's fine. It's up to you. But,
well, that's what I said. And I said, when do we go back to sleep now? And it just didn't happen. Didn't happen that day or Christmas Day. And then the Sunday, my wife, I got invited to her cousin's house, and she's still giving me shit because I didn't go. And she's like, "Why do you want to go?" I was like, "I don't want to go. I want to stay the fuck home. Like, I didn't get a day to stay home, my own. You know what I mean? Like, I spent the eve cooking and cleaning and all that, and then I spent the next day at your family's house. So I wanted to be a bum. I wanted to play video games and do nothing. But they were back home. They were back home in like 3 hours, so it didn't even matter. I was like, by the time you really start to like kick your legs up, they're back in the door again. So you're like, shit.
Yeah. I did that thing you described with the elf. I never like heard of that before. So I mean, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Something I guess to keep the kid on a straight path. Like,
well, you gotta look up. You gotta see what the parents do. So like, I don't get as creative as them, but like, one day she brought home like a gingerbread house she made in school. So what I did was I cracked it, like I broke it, like if he ate from it, and then I put marshmallows on his cheeks. And like pieces of her thing, like all over him, like if he was eating it. And she's like, "Oh my God, look what he did to my gingerbread house." It's like, he must have liked it. Look, he enjoyed himself, It's like stuff like that. But parents get really perverted with that thing too. Like, you gotta look that shit up online. It's crazy.
Right.
Like with the things that he does, that elf.
Elf on a shelf, huh?
Was that a thing like when we were kids?
I've never heard of that.
I feel like it's like the last 10 or 15 years it's kind of come out. It's a book too, isn't it? I think there's a book, and then it comes with the idea, and then I think with social media, people got creative. You know, like you said, some of the adult themes that they do with Barbie, and him snorting,
the Hershey kisses,
and snorting powdered candy, and
him puking.
I can only imagine. Imagine like having a young kid, and all of a sudden you as a parent want to introduce this thing to them, like after they've already had like maybe 3 or 4 Christmases before this. Can you imagine what the kids be like, dude, what the hell is this? Why does it start this year? I don't understand. Kind of thing. Seems to me like it's got to be something that you start from the very, very beginning. Otherwise, the kid's going to call
What's
bullshit.
worse, Brian, what's worse is you don't do it, and then they're in school, and you hear all their friends are talking about it, and then you have to then fucking do it.
Or when do you stop doing it?
Yeah.
So I went to the barber shop, right, like the week before Christmas, and my buddy was there. I haven't seen him since high school. His 2 sons, and his son was talking about the elf to me, right? So I knew about it. And he was like, "Oh, you know about the elves?" I was like, "Yeah, my daughter has an elf, her own elf." "Oh, what's your elf's name?" I don't remember. I think his name's Billy or something. I made it up. "What's your elf's name?" I asked, and the father came out, and he's like, "His name is Useless." I'm like, "Why is it useless?" And he goes, "Cause the elves on the shelves are all useless." And he's telling this to his kid. And he's like, "No, Dad, why are you saying that?" He's like, "Because they can't make toys, they can't do anything. So Santa sends them off to just watch kids all day. They're useless. They're bums." These are like I was dead. I was just like, the way he was talking to his kid, it was just like so funny. He was like, "Well, all he does is waste our time every night. That's what he does." And I was just like, "Oh God."
Oh man.
That's my kind of guy right there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Everybody's trying to steal Santa's spotlight. It's all about Santa. No, we gotta have elves on the shelves and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's bad enough Rudolph's trying to get in on his game, but no, man, it's
they got
crazy.
a Hanukkah version too, Brian. I think Harry. I forget what is Hanukkah Harry or something like that. Something like that.
It's crazy. Hanukkah Harry, like it's
Wench
weird,
on a
right?
bench. Wench on a bench. It's called.
I was about to say, because you're trying to use the alliteration there, but Hanukkah starts with a C, so it's very odd.
Yeah.
It's like a phono alliteration. I don't know. Phonetic.
All right. Phonetic. It's not phonetically correct. All right, G Money.
Christmas
what's up,
is over. I can shit all over Christmas now. I'm sorry.
How was your Christmas, man? How you doing?
I told Brian it was very calm. So we stayed here. Nobody visited this year. It was just my wife and I, it was nice. It was just a couple days, just no work. And we cooked because we went out for Thanksgiving this year. It was just her and I to a restaurant. And then so we made like a little mini Thanksgiving, dinner. So it was fine. But it's hard, some Brian, same thing. Like when it's 80 some degrees still, it's hard to feel like it's really the Christmas season. It was warmer than it normally is supposed to be this time of year down here. So interesting.
You just gotta if you have the visual connection to it with the decorations, then I guess that's what will make you feel festive. But you're not gonna
Put
see
the AC down to 65, bro, and just walk in your underwear. Maybe you'll feel like.
So we're saving for some stuff for the house, so we took it. We knew it was gonna be very calm this year, but even like the decorations, the freaking, you guys, we got the little boy Logan, the kitten that was here last time we were on the show. He's under the door right now. Mm-hmm. He's crazy, man. He's gotten big and he's strong and he's still growing. And he just like messes with like all the decorations, So we put like the tree up in our bedroom, and then they still go in there and mess with it, and they come out and they got like glitter and stuff on their head. And it's like, what are you eating? It's kind of crazy. So we actually took everything down pretty much like the day after right away and got it put back away. So
yeah. Oh, so they just wrapped up. Right?
Yeah. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Dave, how long you keep your decorations up? Because do you do Three Kings Day and all that shit? Like. Or no? Like, do you keep your decorations up like after the New Year, mid-January? Maybe start taking.
Yeah, mid-January, like the 15th or something. Like we start thinking about taking it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think one year I got it all the way to mid-February. So it was
That's
like
crazy.
Wow.
was it Martin Luther King Day that we celebrate in February or something like, or President's Day?
President's Day, yeah.
I think I got to President's Day one year and I just took it down.
You guys, you know the memes of all like the white girls like in Starbucks, right, in the fall with like the pumpkin and like the fall outfits up north, right?
Oh, the Han
And then-
Solo.
Yeah, but then like the joke about as soon as like it's like November 1st, right? Like Halloween was done. That's my wife she's decorating like on like that first day of November. So we've had we put stuff up usually pretty early. So by the time the holiday comes, we're like,
yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
You're tapping out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like,
all right,
get
that
out
makes
of here.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
If my wife had her way, then yeah, we would be November 1st. But I'm right after Thanksgiving. Like, Thanksgiving is like that weekend after Thanksgiving. That's when we're starting to get stuff up.
Same here.
Yeah, I remember in my mom's, like we used to leave them up, like 'cause she always did the Three Kings Day, like almost like a second Christmas, like not as big, and you get a bunch of shit, but she'll give like another gift that day. But then usually after that, so like mid-January, the 10th around there, like she'd probably start taking stuff down. Jesse would just like right away, like right after Christmas. So kind of like the same thing because she just likes to see stuff organized, So, all right. So Dom, how was yours, bro? How you doing?
Pretty good. Christmas Eve, we, stayed with my family, and had a nice, fish dinner, kind of thing, and ate a lot of good stuff on Christmas Eve night. And then Christmas Day, watched the kids open presents. And then basically we hosted here for Tanya's family, which was like crazy. But like every year, I feel like when we do it, I have like somewhat preparation and like just everything's prepared and I think it's going to go smoothly and it's just havoc because everybody shows up. Like you try to set up like a dinner date, like a dinner time, and everybody shows up different times. So appetizers are just like extended sometimes, and you're trying like I got the ham cooking in the oven. It needs to cook for at least 2.5 hours. So when do I put it in? All that bullshit, and so it's like I should just be that person that says like we're eating at 5, and if you're not here, or if you show up at 4, I don't give a fuck. Like we're eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You here or not? Right? Yeah.
You missed appetizers.
Try to accommodate, but it was good. It was pleasant, crazy. So it's like I think we had like 15 people in the house. So.
Oh yeah. That's definitely a party.
You guys know, like in my house, it's not huge. So, but it's a very cozy, quaint, kind of.
It's intimate. To hear that many people, like that means people were able to just get together and talk and just you know what I'm saying, which is a good thing to do during the holiday.
There was like I was throwing, like I was ready to take the ham out of the oven. There was like everybody was in the kitchen, like all 15.
Get the fuck out of my kitchen! Get the fuck out!
Like my wife's trying to cook like the pasta at the same time. And I'm just like frustrated at this point. And I'm like, and I go to her sister, sees it on my face, and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, if you can get everybody out of the kitchen,
just get the fuck out.
So she started like saying, "Hey guys, come over here to the dinner table. Let's set up the dinner table." I'm like, that's kind of how she got everybody out of the kitchen. It was good.
Yeah. I agree, Dom. It's like if I'm in there and I'm in charge of making something, I just need everybody out of my way because it's like my kitchen's very small. It's kind of like a horseshoe. And I'm whipping around with knives and stuff. People are like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Then you stay behind the line. Like, don't come in here." I'm whipping around back and forth, trying to get stuff out of cabinets, and they're like in the way.
Like I got my sink on one side, oven in the middle, refrigerator. So it's like if you're in that row, forget it. You're like, you're gonna get run over, and I don't care. And but like I said, and it's hard when you're hosting. You want to try to enjoy time with the family and go into the living room and family room and just chat and chill. And I know my wife got caught up with hanging out with the kids, and she was planning on cooking some pasta for them, and it's like she ran a little late, and then she was like, "Oh my god, I gotta cook the pasta," and that's when I was trying to pull all the food out of the oven, and it was like kind of some kind of organizing that we had to do, and we made it work. So it it was good. And then and I know you don't have this problem in Florida, but like we it was great that it was cold over here because we put all the drinks outside in my porch. So like,
Yeah,
beer, outside. So it was like everything stayed cool. The extra wine bottles were outside, so everything that needed to be replenished was already cold, and you didn't take too much space in the refrigerator. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
Wow, so you could host 15 people in your house.
I could, yes, I could.
Next rock party in your
Rock
house.
party, rock party.
So Dom, do you just stack up like BBTS boxes and put like a couch cover on top of it, and you can just create more furniture? Like as necessary?
2017, 18, I was getting yelled at, and as much toys were in the downstairs living area. So I've made a commitment to my wife that that there will be I've tried as much as possible in 2019 and 20, and actually this whole year, where there's not much toys out here in my living space. So I make a good effort to, when there's a pile of boxes that come from a week of shipments coming in, I put them away as fast as possible. So.
Nice.
But yes, and you help a lot, Brian. So with that, I like it's annoyance, but like I think as a collector, everyone has to deal with that type of situation where you get lazy some weeks, and within the month you could have 15 freaking 16 boxes piling up, and you're pulling things out, and there's a mess in your dining room table, and all of a sudden, your wife is giving you that stare, saying, when are you going to lift this shit out here? So, but it's good. It's good. Yeah. But other than that, I just, this Christmas stuff is going to stay here until probably, I'm hoping mid-January.
Did you set up your little village, Dom?
Yeah, my village is up. Has a my wife this season, because what we do is they clearance a lot of that stuff at the end of the season. So the houses that they put out this year, we go out like the last week or the week before Christmas and the last week of Christmas. We go out and buy some clearance, when they're on clearance. So you can buy they usually normally go for $150 to $80. And we can get them down to $25 to $30 a house. So my wife and I bought another probably 8 houses this year. So now
how many buildings do you have for that thing?
Right now we have 35. That's in that set.
God.
So
wow. And
that's not including all the little people and accessories and Santa Clauses and telephone booths and shit like that. And so it's a chore to get up, but once it's up, it's really nice to look at and kind of see people looking at it, see where Santa is, and all the little people in the village and stuff like that.
That's cool. Dom was doing dioramas before it was a thing, long before it was a. And
the shelving needed a little bit more reinforcement this year because over the last 4 or 5 years, it was loosening up as we were, reusing it and moving it around and storing it and putting it away. So I had to reinforce the shelving unit, which was kind of a pain in the ass. And so it's, it's work, it's work, but when her family came over and her nephews and nieces, they like to go over there, look through the buildings and see what's going on and all that stuff. So
that's nice. They all get to see it and enjoy it. Is that why you leave it up until January or later? You just
I wish I could leave it up all year, to organize all the wires and all the power cords that are behind the scenes. Nobody knows. Everybody just sees the buildings and it's all lit up and it's beautiful.
But the work with the setup and the breakdown.
I got tiers. I use this styrofoam from Michael's that so I'll tier the styrofoam so I can put houses on top of and tier it like a display case. So you kind of tier your houses so you can get as many houses in those shelving units that I've custom made for that little cabinet that we have. So it's fun. It's work,
Yeah.
My wife does the tree. I put up the tree because we have a fake tree. So I play Mother Nature and spread the branches and make the tree look like a tree when it's like 4 pieces in a box that looks like shit. So
take a picture of it. I want to see it. Throw it in the chat.
Like that tree, I had that tree for 8 years, and I'm waiting for it to like die. Like, just like some branch fall off or something break on it. It hasn't broken. Like that tree, like the warranty, like is like 10 years. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I'm gonna have this fucking tree for 10 years. And I'm like, I had that tree almost 10 years now, and it's fine. All the lights are still fine on it. It's like, I just want it to break so I can get rid of the tree, because it like these fake trees, they're nice. Like I guess they're easier to assemble because when they fall out, all the branches fall out and like they'll spread
all in place
on their own. Yeah.
This one doesn't. This one you have to spread individually.
Okay.
Fuck it up when you put it away. Break the shit, bro. Give it a fucking power bomb or something,
So they have some.
When you open it up and be like, "Oh no, what happened?"
They have some where the branches automatically.
Yeah.
It's like it's like an umbrella.
Gravity.
Exactly.
Wow,
And they're more spread apart. Like you'll see but that's like the style now these trees have. But like this tree is like when you spread it out, the branches and all the little individual branches, it's like a full tree. Like you can't see through this tree. Like this is a full like big healthy spruce.
Is it the one with like the L brackets? You put them in and you slide them into the center.
They're connected
on the inside the thing, and
it's like they're L brackets, but like
they're color coordinated, so you know
yes,
which level to put them on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw a fake tree.
Yeah,
that my dad.
It's an old one, so it's they don't make them like this. Like they definitely don't make them like this anymore. So
yeah, sounds like the one my mom used to have back in the day. Like you had to just stick it, stick the branches in or whatever, and you decorate it. But we remember having that thing for years and years and years. It was like reliable.
It's so reliable. It's still. I have the original box. I pretty much take it apart, fold up the branches again, and so I can get them back into the box. Because if you don't, it will never fit in the box.
Yeah.
So it's a chore, but like I said, all for the wifey, I guess. And 2020 was like when we were doing 2020 and we were in mid COVID, like sticking COVID and nobody's going to see anybody during Christmas. And my wife's like, "Oh, we're working from home. I want to see Christmas." I'm like, no, and I ended up putting everything up that year too.
Like, no, damn it, the work.
It's nice, man. Like
it is.
There's been times I've hosted Christmas and I decorate the house the night before, and then it's like, yeah, I'm leaving this shit up till President's Day. I didn't enjoy it all December or anything like that. So
don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. Like when the house is decorated, it's nice to see. And it's like, I just don't like, when we put it up the week after Thanksgiving, I like this, I'm not looking to take it down like the week after Christmas, because it's like, that's like I still feel the pain in the sores from like, opening up, pulling them out, going into the fucking attic and getting all this shit. So
so you make it worth it, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So leave it up for a little while. Yeah, we didn't decorate like this year because we don't really have like a ton of space. I was like, come on, get at least a tree. The little fake one we had gotten, we wound up tossing out because again, we just didn't really have any space to put it.
Put that Unicron somewhere. Sorry, tree, get
it. It's the tree or Unicron. So it's like, we could get another $20 tree next week. Don't worry about it.
I like on social media, I'm amazed at how creative people have gotten displaying their trees. Like I think I saw a tree that was like a Doctor Strange morphing, like zoning out, like going half of it's going inside the ceiling and then the other bottom half was coming out. Chan showed that. Yeah, that's like wow.
Dust made a post in the group. I really enjoyed that. It was before Christmas, I think, and people were just commenting with all their trees and stuff. It was really nice to see.
It's really great. Like I would love to do an upside down tree one year. That's like cool. Like I thought that'd be really great. But right now the only thing my tree does is rotate. I thought that was exciting.
Oh man, you got to decorate the whole round.
It's all around. All around. No cheating on my tree.
You got to make sure it looks good from all sides. So I mean, the good thing, I guess, we don't have to worry about taking down any decorations or whatever. But it's like it's hard to feel like also
Come
festive
over, Jose. Why don't you come
when
over?
Yeah, when the place doesn't look festive. But it was low key for us too. Like we just like she cooked dinner. We were off the Christmas Eve. But like my mom and stuff like will cook and celebrate and do everything the eve of and open the presents like at night. Like we'll just usually she'll cook on Christmas Day and the kids will come over. So that's basically what they did. They came through, watched a movie, just threw on the Matrix and stuff like that, and we ate. So it was good, nice, good low key time.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. The fam down south had gotten together and got together, had dinner. One of my sisters went to Puerto Rico with her husband and the kids. So I mean, they were enjoying nice weather while we're all dealing with the cold. At least most of us dealing with the cold. So but everybody had a good time. So it was a good Christmas all around.
That's good.
So yeah. So I didn't really have much to talk about. Are we allowed to talk about Spider-Man yet? Or are we still
I
like
think
in the
I
embargo?
think yes. Like, when did that thing come out?
I've been wanting to talk about it, but I'm like, I don't know. Is it still too early? I want to talk about the Matrix, but I know it's still too early.
That's kind of early.
That
Yeah.
just
What
dropped.
about Hawkeye?
than-
We're gonna talk about Hawkeye. Maybe?
Hawkeye just finished too, so it's like
No, don't talk about Hawkeye.
weeks.
Come
Don't
on.
talk about Hawkeye.
All
know,
right.
Hawkeye,
Well, we got to talk about Hawkeye soon because it's a Christmas themed show.
Right.
Christmas
Yeah,
is almost over.
I say
It
next
is
week.
over.
I say next week. Maybe next week we should work
Tom, you
Hawkeye.
haven't watched any of it, right?
I haven't seen the Hawkeye. Like,
I've
Yeah,
seen
I
it
know.
twice. I went through it twice.
I want to see. The
I
Hawkeye.
liked it. I think it's
I
my
heard-
favorite
I heard-
out of all the
yeah,
shows.
I heard it was really good. So
It was good.
I think it's my favorite. Nice, just kind of like low key. This what's her name? She did a good job. Kate Bishop.
She's the actress from Bumblebee, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Haley Steinfeld.
She
I heard-
drove me crazy. Like I couldn't stand her character, so I didn't like it, honestly.
Oh, you didn't like it
Oh,
because of
yeah.
her?
Yeah, she just kind of got on my nerves. Like I don't know.
Kind of like
I
how
was like,
Tila got on my nerves.
yeah, it was just some of those things. Like just I don't know, something about the way she portrayed the character and stuff. I was like,
Yeah. All right, so we'll get into that another time. Spider-Man. I mean, I feel like by now, if you haven't seen it, man, like you're not a fan. You're not a fan. Like the theaters are full, but you should have been able to get a ticket. Have you all seen it? Everybody here seen it?
It's too late
Sorry,
now. Now
I
you're
haven't
risking
seen
life
it.
and death. You gotta
That's
see
fine.
it now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're on Instagram or even like YouTube, I've just been seeing shit just boom. Like you can't even avoid it. Like it's right there, like in the picture or whatever. Like so, I'm like, I saw it like the very first day, but I'm like, I feel
So-
bad that if anybody hasn't seen it, I'm like,
do you guys?
spoilers?
Do you, without because I haven't seen it and it wasn't like a deliberate choice. I haven't been out, and made any plans. My wife has no interest in it, so it'd be something I'd just go see by myself.
Mhm.
But do you guys think is it because it's so popular, or was it because it's the most popular movie since Endgame? Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like the
Yeah.
other Marvel movies, like Shang-Chi, I like that movie a lot, but I don't think it had anything to do with anything really. I mean, it was more just like martial arts movie with mythical creatures. Like the Black Widow, right? Was like a precursor, story type of thing. So do you think it was the timing for this, or do you think people are really that excited about
I think
Spider-Man?
it's a lot of things. I think it's definitely timing, but also it's part of a series, which is also sort of important. I think, right?
Mhm.
And a trilogy, perhaps. But also, I think Spider-Man's got some like real star power, like Batman does. Like,
Yeah. Spider-Man's an A-list
Yeah.
character.
And
So-
obviously, what they've done with the movie, they brought in some of the older movies that now are really brought a lot of feelings back. And at the end of the day, I felt like they could really, if they wanted to, Sony could really extend those movies if they wanted to in the multiverse. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They're begging for it online,
Yeah,
Tom. You can see it. They're begging for it. Everybody wants the the Garfield Spider-Man back.
Where'd he go? How dark did he get? Like, like like the little hints that they gave, like, where was Toby's Spider-Man? Like, how did he mature and what did he do? Like,
no warning for these people.
Yeah, sorry, spoiler.
But like, I mean, I just like
they brought back those villains from those universes,
I think,
man, and they
there's
so many possibilities. Man.
I think it speaks volumes. Like,
are we talking about the movie or are we not? Because Gary said he just clearly said he didn't see it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay either way. I mean, I think I have an understanding, but
do you know what happened, Gary? Do you know what happened?
I mean, I know there's like the multi, and I did see the Venom sequel, and then so I saw like the post credits.
Oh, you didn't know the sequel,
but that was the idea because it showed like the stuff. So I'm assuming it like splits, and you get to see people from the older movies, right? You get to see them all.
Right.
Yeah, and I think like if you're hearing people like asking Sony to do more of the older Spider-Man movie, I think that just speaks volumes to how well this one was really carried out. Like, Gary, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I was astonished at how well they put this story together. Like, there's a few like little kind of I don't want to call them continuity, but a couple of those gripes of like, oh, how fortuitous that this happened to make this work, but kind of stuff. But other than that, man, it was they did some justice, man, to those characters.
You didn't find no plot holes? I found a bunch of holes in that fucking storyline.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some that I think are continuity related that I have no idea because I don't remember the Amazing Spider-Man series, but there was just a couple convenient things that happened in that movie that to help move it along that I was like, all right, well, I'll get past it.
It's a trope. It's what they do.
Yeah.
It's what they do. Yeah. But Spider-Man, like A-list character, Gary, like because the movie, I think like people were just like ready. Like again, Shang-Chi was good. I got to watch that recently. I thought it was good. I haven't seen the Eternals, and that people, at least from what I've seen online,
right.
50-50 on it.
Right.
But again, is not a well-known property like an Iron Man or Hulk or Spider-Man. So it was like number one, Spider-Man, boom, the character. The movie was fucking great. Like, despite, the whatever little issues that are in it, you could always kind of pick little things in there that kind of like, But the movie itself was it was really good. And then the nostalgia factor, that's also a part of it. So, I mean, now just, I think 2 weeks in, and over $1 billion, man, in this pandemic era, that's crazy.
I just found it interesting, when he showed up, right, in Civil War, right, that was 2016. And it's like, okay, cool, right? This is like the characters there. But I feel like the other two movies, like neither one really seem to have. I don't remember people being quite as excited about either of the other two, movies with him. So
the thing,
interesting.
I don't want to, obviously we're not going to give details, but I think like where it left, it feels like it's like it's a start from scratch type of feel. Like it's like Sony can then now do whatever they want to do with the Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man. It's like, they don't even have to bring it back into where, Marvel and Disney is doing with the next wave of movies. Like, it's really interesting in how they left it. And I'm excited because it's like, I hope they, like obviously Sony is taking this multiverse on their own and they're doing their multiverse version of their characters. So it's like, I think it's great. Like, I think it leaves Spider-Man and the outfit that he had on at the end was great. I enjoyed it. Like, I was like, fuck yes. It just bring back certain things. Like I felt like, that, we don't need to have Spider-Man in this Marvel universe wherever they're taking it, because it could be a standalone and do its own thing and have it, his own villains and everything.
Well, the funny thing is,
that Tom Holland universe,
But if they bring him into whatever phase we're on, it'll be just that much more interesting because who's in on his past? The people watching it and him, but no one else that he interacts with, knows anything, and it's like our own little inside connection to Spider-Man, kind of thing. It's kind of cool that way.
It's good, like, cause again, you said it could go either way. Like if I think Sony renewed their deal with Marvel for this movie, and I think he's supposed to make one more appearance in a Marvel flick. You know what I'm saying? So I think he does have one more appearance in some other movie, maybe another Avengers or just some other movie or property. But I mean, this thing made over $1 billion. Far From Home, I think,
Made
did
a
over $1
billion
billion.
already?
Yeah, this movie made over $1
Wow.
billion at the box office. Yeah,
Holy shit.
and they're saying that's super impressive because of no movie's done that since the pandemic started because
Right.
not as many people in the theaters, not as many theaters open. But I think with when Sony was making the Spider-Man movies, when they were doing the Amazing series, those movies weren't making this type of money. You know what I'm saying? The third Spider-Man movie, Tobey's, I mean, it floundered compared to like the first two. So like they're seeing what this MCU creative is doing with the character and making these blockbuster films. Like they would just be stupid to not continue just going 50-50, you know what I'm saying, with Marvel and letting them control the creative direction of this character, let them keep sewing him into what they're doing in this universe. And they could just continue to reap the profits from it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the new deal they had was also like like Sony paying for like the like film production, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So I think it was probably like a better deal like for both of them. If Marvel can't get Spider-Man back completely, I think it's beneficial to both parties to continue what they're doing here. And now, Brian, like you said, we've got 3 of these new Spider-Man movies that have been interwoven into this universe. If they don't continue that, Dom said it, Sony could do their own thing and move forward with Tom Holland if they want to. But I mean, it's going to be so much better if they just keep telling this story.
Isn't he signed on for another bunch of movies already? Isn't it three more or something?
This was it.
This was it. Yeah, this was it.
This was it. So they gotta.
I thought I heard that he signed for 3 more.
He's gonna re-up for that big money. So they were saying there were supposedly plans in place, but then they reneged on that. They said they were about to plans for another trilogy, but then they walked that back. So
thanks, comicbookresource.com, for lying to me.
Yeah,
I thought you had this covered or whatever that website is.
But it was so good, man. The movie was good. Like I remember some gripes Dust had when Homecoming came out. He was like, "Yo, this is not my Spider-Man," because we didn't really. Again, I don't feel like we need to see the origin of him getting bit by the spider or whatever. But like, there was no Uncle Ben in Homecoming. Like, no mention of him. It was like Tony Stark kind of took that kind of mentorship role. He had all the high tech gear, and it's like I liked it, but yeah, it was different. But then like the way it was, like this trilogy of movies was his entire origin, instead of us expecting like the first movie to be like an origin story and then they move them up. Like now, after watching this movie, it's like you could see that this whole trilogy of movies was like an origin for this Peter Parker.
And you seen that you see that like I don't want to give too much of the movie, but there's one detail like when they were like, oh,
you could do that. Is that it?
Like,
I want to know if you're reading my mind. Like, how can you do that? It comes out of there like that. Is that part or no?
No, not that part. But the part
that
talks about like his safety space, like where the 2 others were like obviously buildings in New York, where he hasn't gone to New York yet. Like he's not in Manhattan. So at the end of the day, his safety space was like the top of the school. And like, now like you realize that like, and then like at the end where he goes and now where he lives, it's like, you're going to see that he's now like, he's in the city and it's like, it's just a new start, like where you would pick up from where the other movies ended, where he's in the city and he's like, he's going to be the Spider-Man that, that we know in New York. So it's like, I think that's the great part about it. It's like, it's those little things that they introduce with the older characters and those little tweaks. And I think
and when this Spider-Man, when we first met him in Civil War, I mean, we got the inclination that he's got some good moral fiber to him, right? Based on how he kind of explained to Tony why he uses his powers. But like, that with that great power comes great responsibility thing that he learned from Uncle Ben, that we learned from the comics and those other things. Like, obviously it's a little bit different in this one, but it's not so much him losing somebody because he did the wrong thing. He fucked up his entire life for not being responsible.
Yep.
That is very, very cool. I'd like that. And he's had to learn from it.
Doctor Strange,
huge sacrifices.
Doctor Strange was so willing to just, fuck him. And he had that moral, like, this is not right. And by him saying that that's not right, and he made the bigger choice, it affected his whole fucking life.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I thought the movie did really well.
Yeah, backed into a corner though, of course, with based on the circumstances of what was happening in the moment. No other choice. But yeah, I mean, what he did at the end after that, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it showed that he was like, it was a mature decision, and it's just like, man, it's just the status quo that it kind of left on is it's pretty cool. It's just exciting to like see like what direction they kind of take this in. It's like, there's going to be more coming. I hope like they make another deal with Sony and he stays in the MCU, like at least for like
I think if even if Sony likes, borrows a character, like I love it when they team up, I love it when there's Doctor Strange in the movie. Definitely I enjoyed it. Like, it's not like it hurt him in the movie, and having him in that battle scene with him, and obviously with the multiverse, he was an aspect of the movie. But like, if they can do that in the future and bring in other, like, some characters from the from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and bring it into a Sony picture, that'd be great. Like, it just like keep that door open, and then share the profits. Like, share whatever you want to share. But like, you guys both are going to be making money, so. And I think I think Sony should be, very humble to Marvel and Disney to do what they did, and set them up for, putting out, now they just have to tell good stories and put out good movies, and I'm sure they'll make billions and billions of dollars.
They have the secret sauce, man. Marvel has the secret sauce. They know it. They know it.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. And then you've seen like some people with the shows on Disney Plus have kind of, up and down with what they feel the quality of the shows are and stuff. Like, I've enjoyed most of them. I feel like this Hawkeye one is probably like my favorite out of all of them. I just like, and again, I think it's just being so familiar with the character from all the Avengers movies, and like he never really got like his due. Like, it's always just these bits and pieces because he's part of an ensemble. So to get a little bit more of him, especially post Endgame, really interesting stuff. So that's kind of like why I dug it. It's real kind of like, again, like sort of street style, and sort of, the little tie-ins here, like, there's like a musical in this show or whatever, where you see the billboards of the musical in Spider-Man. So that's kind of like the tie-in you could see, because it's sort of taking place like around the same time. Because you could see Spider-Man takes place like over time from when, he got his identity got shouted out. So where he ends up like at the end of the movie, right. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just cool, man. I trust what they're doing. Loki, it took me a little bit to get into, but once I started watching it and how they broke down this whole multiverse concept, which is basically getting everybody ready for what they did in this movie, for getting them ready for the next Doctor Strange movie, because basically the second, I don't know if it's really a spoiler because they already put it out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But that second trailer or whatever for Doctor Strange was essentially like the end credits that you got at the end of this movie. You know what I'm saying? And you see the concept. If you watch that trailer, you see where they're going. You know what I'm saying? They showed Wanda in the trailer, tying in WandaVision. You know what I'm saying? So like, you kind of have to watch those shows if you want to get the complete picture.
It's kind of tied in with the What If too, right? If you think about it, with the Doctor Strange and all that shit too. Yeah.
That trailer, if you see that Doctor Strange trailer, that makes the What If a must watch. You have to watch that What If show, and then watch before you watch Doctor Strange the next.
So
movie.
That Doctor Strange in the trailer, that's that Doctor Strange from What If.
Yep.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. Maybe they're introducing a third one or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be. You know what I'm saying? It has to be him, because the way they're connecting all that.
Okay.
And even that's crazy. When I finished What If, like, I was like, whoa, like, like just the whole concept of what they were doing is like, oof.
I haven't finished WandaVision. I have to finish that. I watched the full Loki, and I enjoyed Loki very much. And then I didn't watch the Captain, the Hawk. What is it? Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That was pretty good too. You should watch that.
I want to watch that one. And then I watched all the What Ifs. So I saw the What If stuff. So the only thing I have to do is finish the WandaVision and Captain America, then the Hawkeye. So I definitely have this time this week to do it, and I'll probably get that done. But like, it's great that, like you said, Jose, like you're using those series to build and get people more acquainted with where they're going, and they can do that very in small bits and get you comfortable before you see a blockbuster and say what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, and I like how the series also could let like some of these characters we've already known and seen like breathe a little bit. Like you just see them in these extended scenes and stories again that you're not going to get in a 2 hour, 2.5 half-hour movie if it's an ensemble film like a character like Hawkeye that has to share screen time with so many other characters.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool to see a character like Wanda too. Like
I agree with that. It's like they're not throwaway characters anymore. You know what I mean? Like just like B and C characters are actually something in this universe, which I like.
I like how they're using these series to just explore a different style of storytelling for superheroes as well. Like the one thing I really liked about this Hawkeye, like even though it was 6 episodes, right? This wasn't like a 2-hour movie. It was 6 episodes, but I felt like I was watching an actual Christmas movie with the music in the background, the comedic like kind of goofy tropes that you'd see in like Home Alone or something like that.
Right.
It was told in the Christmas movie style, or I would say directed in the Christmas movie style. I thought that was kind of an interesting take. It was kind of cool.
And the production values are super high too. Like sometimes you just forget you're watching a show. Like it looks like you're watching a film, because it's not much different. It doesn't, those canned sets and shit like that. You don't get that here.
It's funny that you say that because I've seen, what on the DVDs or whatever, but they show the behind the scenes of them making the Avengers movies and whatnot. And they always show Hawkeye. He's pulling arrows out of the air. Like they add all that in with CG. They add the actual arrow in, like in his hand and stuff. It's amazing what they can do now. It's just wild stuff.
Now that is the thing with this Spider-Man though. And it's been with all the movies. It's like I feel it's too much CG. I feel like for him though, like I feel like the whole when you see him in costume, he almost doesn't look real because it just looks like he's washed over in CG. So it's almost like you're just kind of, when you're seeing him maskless, you're just kind of seeing like the head. It's like the rest of him is like a CG body. Like, at least that's what it does. So to me, it doesn't look like physical. You know what I'm saying? Like you barely see on his regular Stark suit, like you barely saw the black lines like on the costume. Like, I don't know. It just, not that it looked bad, but to me, it just looks weird. Like it just doesn't look like that physical to me compared to some of these other costumes that we've seen. But yeah, man, I mean, catch up on those series because this Spider-Man movie, for me, I kind of lost that excitement, and I think it was like the long layover after Far From Home, and then we took so long to get Black Widow,
right?
And then it was like by the time that came out, I was like, I was barely interested again because Gary, you said it was that period piece like between Civil War and Infinity War. And so it was just like, okay, I don't need to see this yet, right? Because it takes place in the past. We already know what her fate is.
Right.
When I finally watched it, I liked it, and then it introduces that character Yelena that she plays, a pretty big thing in this Hawkeye thing. It kind of Hawkeye follows up on the Black Widow movie, so now it kind of makes Black Widow more relevant. And then of course, the Spider-Man movie following up with all the multiverse stuff that we started seeing, like in Loki and all that. So. It's crazy, man. WandaVision at the end of it, Dom, based off a little bit of what we saw in the Doctor Strange trailer. If you watch WandaVision, then you'll kind of have a better understanding of what's going to happen in Doctor Strange and stuff like that. So, I love how they're connecting it all now with Spider-Man and what they did with this movie. I'm now my hype is way more up for the MCU than it was probably in the past year and a half.
And then obviously you got all the second seasons that are coming out for Loki and the extension.
Yeah.
They're just going to continuing supporting those movies and bringing the some of the background or necessary details in those sitcoms and just make it so more robust in regards to storytelling. So I with Iron Man leaving, I can with this movie and especially with Doctor Strange and I was like, after Infinity War, I thought Doctor Strange was the shit. Because solo movie, you were like, oh yeah, okay, great. But then when you saw Infinity War, I thought Doctor Strange was like I could see that character being one of the main characters to bring the next series of and Wanda and those kind of characters really bring in this next wave of movies along. You don't need an Iron Man anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Spider-Man should be leading the charge. That's why it's like,
Yeah.
I hope they got it. They have to make a deal with Sony, because Tom Holland is also like a young actor. Like, so he could be like Hugh Jackman, where, you know, he's had this role since what, 2015? I think he landed the role. Civil War came out 2016. Like, this dude could be Spider-Man for the next 15 years. You know what I'm saying? If they keep doing these Marvel films and keep this universe going. Like, so imagine the journey of the story that they could tell with this with this actor, with that character, have it all integrate into whatever they're doing with these other movies. And imagine like another 10 years from now. Like, you know, if they've made these Spider-Man movies, I think it was like every 2 years. Like, these were coming out pretty quick. You know, they got this trilogy done like relatively fast. So if they keep doing that, they could, sky's the limit with this character. You know what I'm saying? They can make another 3 movies within 6 years.
Right? You know? 25 years old, roughly.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah, he's young. He was like 20 or 21, I think, when he got the role or something like that. So, you know, he could play this role until he's, 35, 40, and then put him in that older Spider-Man role, bringing up the new Spider-Man, Miles or whoever they wind up introducing, They teased him in Homecoming, you know what I'm saying?
And like where he's beginning now with the new movie, like they can bring that character up. They can bring the Prowler. They can do all what they want to do. Like, I think it's just a great setup where they can just start from scratch and introduce the next villain. And he's, he doesn't have the Tony Stark, technology. He doesn't have any of all that stuff. He's just Spider-Man again. He's the Spider-Man right out of the comics, and he can do exactly tell that story. And like I said, bring him in, like, wherever they go. But, when you think of Spider-Man, you don't think about the space and the worlds where he doesn't go. He's a neighborhood Spider-Man. He takes care of, New York City. So it's like, and he has all those villains still to be, flushed out in his world. So, I
think that would probably be the way to go. I don't know if it was Dust or somebody else in the chat said it, like, just bring him back to like that street level kind of like hero that he kind of is in the comic. If they're gonna do the whole Daredevil thing and introduce that, and maybe some of those other heroes, like, that are all in that New York area, to sort of have those guys now cross over with each other, like do it on that little bit of a smaller scale. Because it's true, like, for as young as he is, like, it is surprising, again, it's the different direction that they've gone in, but to see him have gone to space, battling Thanos, and this kid is still in high school, like, it's a very fantastical kind of like world that he's been thrown into. So I think him, like, being street, like, now dealing with mafia and the street crime and all that would be a little bit more, would be better for him now.
But then the thing too is that, I don't want to spoil it with this Venom situation. So it's like, they have that, like, so, and, with the, where the Venom story could go with the Venom story. And then, where Toby, with the Tom Holland universe, they can have their own Venom now. Like, they could just basically introduce that character in his world, So,
Dust actually mentioned that this movie was originally written to have like Kraven the Hunter in it and stuff like that.
Yep, Kraven the Hunter. Yep.
So maybe they can borrow that for whatever's coming next, which would be cool.
Yeah. So so that's the thing. Yeah, it's good because I read that the writers, when they started planning this, they weren't sure if the deal with Marvel was going to renew. So they were sort of like starting to plan the story. I think, like you said, the Kraven, like if it was just going to be a self-contained film, but then I think the deal with Marvel came through and they were like, all right, good. Like, because they kind of were more further into that planning for that than this other direction.
Because right, like, because you never knew who's the actor that plays Venom.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, like we never knew if he was in that same universe as Spider-Man. Like, they that's what I'm saying. Like, I never knew, like, we never knew that, and then they answered that question here. Like, you don't, like, they answer that question in this movie, and it's like, we and with I think Morbius, the movie with Morbius, but that movie, that he's in that world because he's talking to Vulture, like he's talking to that character Vulture in the movie. So, like,
Jared Leto doing it, right?
Yeah, Jared Leto's character is in Tom Holland's universe because you already see on the scene with him talking to Vulture. So it's like, I think that's where they're gonna start introducing those villains into or anti-villains, or whatever the hell you want to call them. But
Anti-villain.
but it's going to be interesting.
Well,
See,
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it is neat, like seeing people so excited about something again, right? Because it's been a few years before there was, one property or part of it that like got people, I think, that on the same page.
But Spider-Man always had that opportunity. Like he had so many great villains in the comic books. You can really branch out with that with Spider-Man. Like they did it with Iron Man and like Thor and Captain America, and it's like with Spider-Man you have all the great tools there, and just you put a good score. You just have to put a good story together. You have to utilize those characters and really put a good movie together.
Yeah. Again, like I said, this character is so young in this unit, he could be leading this charge. You know what I'm saying? Whatever direction they go in, like if they have to be building to like some sort of a new Avengers movie, and obviously it's not going to be like all the old guys. It's going to be new characters making up a new Avengers team. Spider-Man should be like in the middle of that when that eventually happens. You know what I'm saying? He should be kind of leading that team when that shit happens.
All those actors from the old movies still look great, man. They can still continue those other fucking movies.
And listen, and that's the thing. Like nowadays, like I think I was watching a featurette, like in preparation of this Matrix movie. Oh no, I think it was about the video game. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for this Matrix game that's running on this new Unreal Engine. That shit looks sick, bro. Like if you haven't seen it, it looks real. It shows Neo and Trinity kind of like talking. You could kind of tell they're CGI models. It sort of switches to the real actors and then back to like the CGI, and it almost became like indistinguishable. And it's what Marvel did with this movie. They de-aged Green Goblin. They de-aged Doc Ock. You know what I'm saying? So it almost doesn't matter how old these guys get. You know what I'm saying? Like Hawkeye's a little bit older. The dude, what's his name, that plays Ant-Man? Paul Rudd or whatever, he's already pushing 50 or more. He's probably in his 50 or lower 50s. Like they just clean him up with CGI.
If Mark Hamill could do it, playing a fucking 20-something-year-old or whatever 30-year-old fucking character, these guys can do it.
Yeah, that's it. Like the
De Niro couldn't do it. You see him? Remember he tried to kick that guy in The Irishman?
Samuel
Irishman.
Samuel L. Jackson couldn't either, because if you saw Captain Marvel, like that was supposed to be like in the 90s, right? There was like a scene of him running and he looked like an old man. Like it was like that's definitely not 1990 Samuel L. Jackson. But as far as like the facials and stuff, they could the way they de-age these people, it's like you could have these characters there forever, like you know what I'm saying. But the thing is that they do move this stuff along like in real time. So even with the characters aging, it makes sense. Like in this Hawkeye series, you saw his kids; they're growing up. Right, you've seen them in the Avengers, in the second Avengers movie. You saw them in the third, one, and you see them here, and it's like, they're growing up. Right, so that's cool. It's cool to kind of see that also. But in doing that, eventually those characters, like in Endgame, they have to eventually get phased out. But there's so many, like again, and I think all these series that they got in the pipeline like prove it, right? Like this, that Ironheart, they got She-Hulk, the new Guardians movie, a new Thor. Like there's so many characters that they could still do movies on and bring in and introduce that, there's no shortage of that.
They're doing Moon Knight too, right? With the dude from Star Wars or whatever his name is.
The guy who played Poe, right?
Oh yeah.
Man, it's
and they're still yet to bring mutants into this, which everybody's waiting for. You know what I mean? When they're going to start pulling the fucking X-Men back in.
X-Men, Fantastic Four. Like I trust Marvel is going to do finally the Fantastic Four justice, because they've tried the one from the 2000s, that one from a few years ago that a lot of people didn't like. It seems like they people have a hard time with that property, but I mean, I feel like everything Marvel does, like for the most part, they turn anything to gold.
They could bring them in by doing like a Secret Wars version, like they did with the multiverse shit, and just do a Secret Wars series with different like characters and bring them in, and then start their own movies from there.
Like an animated one? Animated Secret
I
Wars?
mean, why not? They introduce characters that way and then start it. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's a possibility. But I think with the What If, they did try to make the animated models kind of look like the way the actors did and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So, I feel like you would still have to cast those people. You know what I'm saying? To know if whether they're gonna do something like animated or not. But I don't like. I feel like they know what they're doing. Like they seem to have a plan. They kind of have a general direction. And so far I feel like it's worked. Like never in our lives have we had, like, I think they're saying the Spider-Man movie is like the 27th movie or something, like in this whole like interconnected universe. Like when does that ever freaking happen? Like never. And there's more. And there's more to come.
It's impossible to watch them all in a single day now.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
You have to have a multiple day binge.
But I think like now excitement is high, man. People enjoyed Spider-Man, like, and I think like it gives validation to those older films, like the villains that they brought in, again, just that nostalgic feeling, of seeing what we got. I think the Garfield movies didn't really get, like, I mean, I don't think they were made well, but I thought that dude was like a good Spider-Man, like him
I thought
himself.
so too.
Like I think just the storyline that they were doing in those films, I think people were kind of like against it because everybody, I think at that time, it was like it was like 2011, 2012, I think, when they rebooted that. This universe was already going on, so I think people wanted Spider-Man in it then, and then there was just like a backlash when those movies came out. Like fuck, like because Sony was trying to do their own. You saw with the second Spider-Man movie, right? You saw how they were trying to do the Sinister Six and sort of do like a interconnected Spider-Man universe, which I think they're still trying to do now with Morbius and Venom and stuff. But I think people were just against it and were like, nah, man, just bring it into the MCU, and at least you got a piece of it, like with this one. And like, who knows, like moving forward, I think Sony should just fucking sell, just go half and half with Marvel on all these characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think with the Spider-Man deal, like, since these are all Spider-Man's like villains that they're making properties of, like, I mean, I think if they should just do a deal where it kind of Marvel gets them all back. Let Marvel handle the creative, like, for all this stuff. And with this multiverse concept, you could even just, again, with Venom, I don't know, people seem to like this Tom Hardy Venom. I didn't watch the second one.
I heard the second one was good.
Yeah,
I like
hearing it.
The second one was okay. Yeah, I mean,
it was all right.
It was entertaining.
I heard they lead into the comedy aspect of like the buddy thing, like
a little bit more for that.
Oh, really? So, there's a lot of him talking to himself in it.
Yeah.
Eddie, what are you doing, Eddie?
I felt in the first movie. That's what I loved about it. I loved the back and forth.
It was kind of funny. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was a little further than the second one, but the effects were really good, I thought, in the second one.
Dustin saying the second one was trash. They fucked up.
Yeah, the Woody Harrelson thing was kind of like a little rushed, I thought.
Oh, was it?
In a movie, the backstory and stuff.
My only exposure to Carnage was in the animated series back in the 90s, and I thought the character was awful and annoying and fucking stupid.
So you like this movie, then?
I mean, it's what? It's not a Disney Plus movie, so I'll probably never see it on streaming for another 15 years, and they finally give it up to Netflix or something like that. So.
I just like there's the scenes between him and Eddie, like, when he saw it was a red one, he's like, oh, there's a red one, oh, fuck it. Like he hid back into the body, and he's like, I'm kind of feeling vulnerable here. It's like, it's just those funny.
There's some of it, it's just a little too much. That's all. It's too much, like. But some of it's funny. I agree with you. Can I eat him? Can I eat him? Like, that's okay. But how many times are you gonna say it? You know what I mean? Like, just fucking eat him already.
Just bit the bullet and rented it on Amazon to watch it.
Oh yeah. I'll just wait till that shit is like both movies are like $10 and then I'll buy it.
It's $6. I think it's a $6 rental on Amazon.
Yeah. It just came out. That's why it's a little bit higher than normal. I'll wait. That shit will drop in price in like another 6 months, or it'll be on one of these streaming channels. It just came out. I'm in no rush to see it. I'm in no rush to see it. I already know what to kind of like what to expect from it. The shit that I thought was interesting though, 'cause I already know the post credit scene, like where he kind of morphed into the MCU, and I think saw Tom
Right.
Holland like on the TV. So they were saying like the symbiote. They were like, well, like how would he have gotten pulled in? Right? He doesn't know anything about Peter Parker because that was the thing, Gary. It was like these villains came through because of they knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. That was kind of like the thing with this movie. So it's like, well, how did he come through? And they were explaining that it was this, the symbiote is has like a hive mind and it's multi-universal. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that symbiote might know about the original encounters from like the Toby movie. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
right.
With that
Yeah.
symbiote. And that's how it knows, you know, Peter Parker. That's why, like I said, when he saw the symbiote saw Peter on the screen, that's why he kind of like he balled up and kind of got angry or whatever. So it's like that's kind of interesting, like you know what I'm saying? Because I remember I think we spoke about it in the past. It was like, how are they going to do a Venom movie without Spider-Man? And they kind of did it, you know, and it was
Right.
fine. But man, those characters have such a connection that they have to do that. They have to kind of bring that together. They have to bring that together some way somehow. You know, that's money you're leaving on the table if you don't do it. You know, so let me see.
Yeah. So Dust says that they're DCUing it and want to catch up to MCU. That's Sony's issue, I guess. The interesting thing about Sony though is they're introducing like the bad guys with their solo movies first. It seems with like Morbius and Venom and Carnage and you know I guess whatever else they'll end up working on next. But
Craven's
man,
supposed to be getting a solo movie, right? With the
that's
dude.
that's interesting,
Kick-Ass.
right? To start
Quicksilver.
because like sometimes you start with the good guys and tell their story, but now you're gonna start with the bad guys, and that's kind of weird. But
Yeah,
it's cool.
I
Well,
felt weird about it.
Venom's weird because he's like you said, he's like an anti-hero, right? Anti-villain. He's like a good bad guy in a sense, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going to do with, like, I think that's what they're going to do with, you know, the Morbius movie too. Like,
I think that what they're gonna do is hopefully they don't do what they did with Suicide Squad and try to just fucking throw a bunch of fucking
Right.
guys together like that and then do some, the bad guys gotta save the good guys kind of thing. You know what I
And,
mean?
you know, I just realized something. So far in the MCU Spider-Mans with the Venom and the Morbius and the Vulture, I didn't see Carnage, so I don't know what his deal is, but you could call them all anti-heroes, right? But
Yes.
it's only when they interact with Spider-Man do they become villains.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And that's
Spider-Man makes them bad.
That's what I'm going to, like, you know, if like, you know, I don't, that's the type of, like, you know, how do you then, like, they're building these villains that they have some, you know, they have some battle within and they're good, you know, they have a good side to them, you know, but how do you introduce these characters that are not completely all bad and you're fighting Spider-Man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, which they did, which you kind of can say that they did in this movie. They did it in the Spider-Man movie. You know, they obviously did it with, you know, all the villains that they brought back from the other from the other two movies. So it's like there are some good, like, you know, with Doc Ock, there's some good in him still.
Well, Dom, like in the comics, if in the comics at one point, Doc Ock replaced Spider-Man as and the Avengers, I think.
Superior Spider-Man. He took over. Yeah, for a couple of years actually in the books. It was called Superior Spider-Man. He took over like Peter's body and started like a lab in his name. Like basically made him rich because he, you know, is like a genius and shit. Parker Industries or whatever. Like it was a pretty good story. Like, it was a little bit more ruthless, you know, but being in that Spider-Man role, like he was a little bit more ruthless, but he still tried to do good because, you know, he was Spider-Man, you know.
And that's all story. That's storytelling up. Like that's going to be their like they're going to be left up to do some good storytelling because there's going to be a conflict where they do fight, and then obviously there's some resolution at the end.
Yeah. So
who's in that crew? There's like a whole crew of dudes like Moon Knight and a bunch of other characters that are like all like in that New York universe that they all fight together. I forget what they're called. Anybody in the chat know? I forget what it is.
Well, on Netflix, they did the whole Defenders thing, which, you know, with
There you
those
go, that's what it
level
is.
heroes, they could always bring other people into it and redo that. You know, like I don't know if the Netflix stuff is going to stay canon or not, but with the couple of characters they kind of already brought in from there, it's like
Right.
I guess they could go either way with it. You know what I'm saying? Because that stuff I feel like on the Netflix stories were so small scale, like that stuff could have happened. It didn't really.
Didn't affect the
Wasn't big
universe.
enough to have an impact on what these other movies were doing. So you could keep all that stuff and say it happened or not, and just do something else. But either way, just take the best of whatever and move forward. So I don't know, but I know I got trust and faith in what they're doing, and now like I am a little bit more excited for like what's going on. Like I don't know when the next Marvel show is supposed to drop, but I'm hoping it's soon now because I just want them to continue.
That's what I was going to ask. What's the next movie? Is it Doctor Strange 2?
Doctor Strange, yeah.
Doctor Strange is I think dropping in May. You know what I'm saying? So it's not too far away, about 5 months or so.
Show called like Secret Invasion or something like that coming, or is that one of them?
Well,
That's
I think
a
the next
show.
one, the next big show, the Boba Fett show, right? That's like
Is that what?
big.
Yeah,
That
tomorrow.
drops this week, right?
Tomorrow.
Oh shit! On the Rockfather's birthday.
That's right. That's my birthday.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this is like you got two, planets, and you're Marvel and Star Wars, and they're just, they're battling for your love, and it's like, they're just bringing the heat, like it's making both of them like, how do we pull these people to love us more, and then it just keeps the storytelling really great. I think it's
just keep telling good stories, like you said, Dom. Like I think if you like Spider-Man, like I feel like the Amazing films, those two movies, there were aspects of them that were good, but overall, like they just didn't resonate. They weren't really good movies. They really weren't. But again, that Garfield's performance was great, and I think it's more appreciated now, like afterwards, in hindsight, than it was at that time.
It was the love connection with Gwen with the Garfield movies. I felt was the best. Like even now with the Tom Holland and then his MJ, I don't really feel that love connection with them. Like when you watch the Garfield, I really thought that like their acting skills between both actors really brought that love story more feeling than any, and like even the Toby and MJ. I thought. But
that scene that Garfield had in that movie was probably one of the most touching moments in the movie.
It was completely. So that's why I felt like they really knew, like if they took the good parts of each of the movies, I think they really they understood that the Garfield love connection with Gwen and his redemption that he did in this movie would really bring.
I was trying not to say anything, but
no, but I
didn't say it. I said redemption.
Yeah. No, and it's like watching those movies back. It's like you could see like those Toby films are real, like comic booky. It's like they really put like a comic book on the screen, and it was really bright and stuff like that. And Garfield films, it was very gritty and dark and kind of a little bit more realistic. And that's what I did dig about it. And I loved his Spider-Man too, because wisecracking during the fighting the villains and stuff like that. But then like the moments with the kid, the kid was being picked on in the fucking alley, and he helped them, and then put his thing together and walked them home, like talking to them, like that. I like scenes like that. I think Garfield also like did so well, like what I'm saying. So
you could tell that some of these people in these movies really show love for the comics and Spider-Man and even New York City. Like in every movie, I've noticed parts of like where I grew up or parts in the city that I recognize. And I like that they actually use New York in the fucking movie. Not like, other movies claim to be in New York and it's like a totally different city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I can tell. I know what corner store that is. I know what block that is. I know what high school that, it's like, that's what's cool.
Yeah, Marvel does.
I think Brian, like with what he said before, where like, his integrity, like his Spider-Man's integrity, like, and when you watch the Tobys and you watch the Garfields, like they never were looking to harm these villains that were trying to kill him. Like they were always trying to help them. And then when you saw that decision made by the Tom Holland's character when he's ready to stop Doctor Strange, like you saw that, like that kind of transcended into his character, and you're like, that's what Spider-Man's all about. Like he's not looking to harm anybody, and he's trying to help everybody.
And what's weird, and with my experience again from the animated series, a lot of these villains that he has to fight, he has some kind of personal connection to them as Peter Parker. You know,
Mhm.
at
Yeah.
the same time, not all of them, but you know, a lot of them.
And they did it in those original films, like him being close to Norman and Harry. You know what I'm saying? And then he's Doc Ock student in the second one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sandman being the one that really shot Uncle Ben in that trilogy. You come to find that out, but finding out like it was like it was an accident. Like it wasn't like he also had a sympathetic story. That's the thing, I guess, is good is if you make the villain sympathetic, and then I guess it's more than just like a one note film, right? Like, oh, okay, Spider-Man just has to defeat the bad guy, and who gives a fuck? Like, if you can't even feel the villain's motives, I guess. And I guess that's what they've tried to do is try to humanize these villains a lot more, so you just feel it more, I guess, watching the film. They did it with Green Goblin. Like, it was almost like the dude didn't want to lose his company, right? He takes that fucking serum. He wasn't bad, right? Like, he just fucking takes the serum because the fucking other company's gonna get the military and it fucking makes him crazy. And then the shit with Doc Ock is that the fucking that shit overloaded in the back of his head that controlled the arms, and he lost control of the arms. The arms controlled him. So it's like, again, just circumstances that kind of made them bad. It wasn't like that they were bad,
Exactly.
So it just adds that other layer to them, what I'm saying, that makes them more interesting. They did it with Thanos in Infinity War, like kind of like you saw how many people were like, damn, I agree with them. I think even in the Hawkeye show, he's fucking from a mug saying Thanos is right. Thanos was right. You have those people that are like, yeah, that does make fucking sense. What Thanos was doing, was the right thing. So
Thanos kind of sounds like the COVID fucking thing right now. Snap your fingers and fucking get rid of half fucking population.
A lot of countries exercise population control. Like, so it's nothing new. Like, it's our real life sometimes, where sometimes when populations do get large and and it's uninhabitable in your country and all the consumables that are required, there has to be some type of population control.
Yeah. So listen, what Thanos did, I think like somebody did the math on it, because there's about 9 billion people like on the planet, and the way the population is growing exponentially in real life. So they were like, okay, so like he snapped his fingers, so 9 billion people now down to 4.5. They were like, that was the planet back like in 1972. So he didn't really do too much for this planet. Like, those fucking 4.5 billion fucking people are just going to fucking populate again in another 20, 30, 40 years with half the resources now, because it wasn't just people that snapped away. It was animals. It was fucking like plants, like shit like that. Anything that was alive, not just people, sentient things. It was everything. It was it. So crazy. I hope these movies explore that more too. Like, you could tell when Far From Home came out, they kind of had to shoehorn that little aspect of Endgame and the snap and all that, where they kind of just explain, oh, the kids came back or whatever. But when you watch the rest of the film, like, it was like nothing ever happened. Like, there was no dystopia, nothing. Like, so I hope they Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of did touch on that a little bit. I
Hawkeye had a scene that touched on it too, which was kind of interesting.
And Far From Home did too. I think when they talked about Doctor Strange and how the other guy is the master, like, because Dr.
Wong.
Wong's now the master because Doctor Strange got snapped, and he's 5 years younger than Wong. So.
Yeah, he just wasn't around. So
they mentioned it in that one scene, and I think that's kind of where they left it.
They need to keep showing that, like ramifications of that snap and what it did to people in their lives and shit. Because that to me is major, and I feel like they could explore that a little bit more in these movies and series and stuff like that. So I don't know. Do you guys want to wrap on that? You want to go off air, do a hangout and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yo, just to clarify, Ricky sent me a text. He said that I meant the Midnight Suns: Moon Knight, Morbius, Blade, Ghost Rider. Mm-hmm. That's the crew that I was thinking of. That they still have to do movies on those dudes.
They could do it, dude. So now that's the thing, is that those characters are kind of considered like, I don't know, B-list, C-list, you know what I'm saying? But again, the Guardians was that at one time. Iron Man was like a B-list character at one time. So I think Marvel does such a good job. Like, as long as they just keep planning this stuff out well ahead of time, and as Dom said, like with these Spider-Man movies, tell good stories. You're gonna make these C and B list characters A-list characters, and now these are new franchises that you could just build up on, and just these are your new Avengers and all that. Like, it doesn't have to be Iron Man and Hulk and Thor and shit like that. And that's what they have to do. They have to introduce these new characters, and you have to like them. This shit has to be good,
Exactly.
Or else it's gonna flop. If these new characters and these new things they put out don't resonate, then who knows how long this will last. So we'll see. I guess we'll see.
As long as the toys.
But yeah, dude, you're right. Like, and I forgot about that team. It's been a while. But yeah, they were another set of street level heroes and stuff like that. And it was a little bit darker. Like, I think those books. I might actually now look those up just to
don't
refresh my memory on those.
Don't bring back Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. So
it's the multiverse, dude. He exists. He exists out there in the vast multiverse. See, that's the whole thing. It's like what DC did with Crisis, even on the TV scale. What Marvel's doing now with the multiverse, like, it makes everything count. It makes all those properties, all those old movies. It makes everything count. It's just its own universe. It's its own universe somewhere. So
Dave,
that's
Ricky
great.
texted me too to say what you said. So yeah, I need you to read your messages more quickly so he doesn't have to.
Sorry. Damn, boss.
All right, so let's wrap on that. As always, we will continue unbroadcasted, so I'll throw out the link in the Realm of Collectors Facebook group. If anybody wants to come hang out with us, come hang out. I'm sure we'll be on here for a little while longer, unbroadcasted. So let's go around the yard, get some where you at, and we'll call it a night. I'll start with Gary.
Yeah, find me best place. You'll find me on Facebook. It's fine. That'll work.
All righty, Big Dom.
you can find me on Facebook, Dominic Rosso, and here Tuesday nights with you guys, whether it's BTM or doing the hangouts and chilling with you guys.
Yes. All right, Brink.
At Brinkleiser on Instagram. And tune in tomorrow night for a new episode of Figure Bangin'.
Figure banging week. Nice. All right, Dave.
And at John Addict on Instagram, David Colon in the Facebook groups, and in the multiverse, you could find me. No, I'm just kidding. But you can find me here most Tuesdays.
Yep. And as for myself, Harrican BX, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Monday nights ETR, here BTM, and the Hangouts on Tuesday. And next time we talk about Spider-Man, we're going all in. Like, I felt like we did pretty well with not getting too spoilers.
Pretty good working around the edges there.
That's still a good discussion.
That took some talent. I gotta say.
Make sure I see it before next time.
Try to Gary, it's worth it.
We didn't spoil that much.
Peep it, man. Peep it. You're more spoiled if you go on YouTube than what we spoke about tonight. So don't worry about it. Want to shout out everybody that was in the hangout tonight. Chat Wingingham, Ricky, Dust, a bunch of other people in there. Toy Mafia. I saw Ralphie the Vendetta was in there. Break of Aggression. Charlotte was in there. Rogue War. So we thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. It's always appreciated. Jay Geeter. Tomorrow's Dust's birthday. So happy birthday, Dust, the rock father himself. We love you. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great one. I know it's a milestone one. Probably not looking forward to it, but screw it. Happy birthday anyway. And New Year's coming up this weekend. So we just hope everybody out there in the realm stays safe, has a good time with their family and loved ones. All right. Take care of yourselves out there. Have a good one. And we'll be back next week, I guess, with a brand new episode. All right. So until then, take care, stay safe, and peace out, my peoples.
Later, guys.
Peace out.
Say it with me now. Really?